Alawi works the best when the enemy team is engaging on you. But guess what? What do the Direwolves like to do? They like to be proactive, constantly aggressive, making play after play. What do the Chiefs do? They sit back, they control the tempo, but they let you come to them. I like the Alawi for that reason.
Well, we'll see whether they can actually make it work as we hop into Champion Select. Shen banned away first here as the Chiefs take away CBLOL's Elise, which has been picking up a lot of momentum for the team. Direwolves picking up a lot of victories recently, to be perfectly honest with you, and we'll see whether they can grab another one, only falling once so far this split. Even with the Chiefs, of course, as far as that scoreline, but one win ahead, because, of course, Chiefs didn't play in week number 3.
They'll be playing twice in Super Week, however, as this is the first time we will see the Chiefs.
Exactly right.
And up against the Direwolves, it's not the easiest way to kick it off.
Most certainly isn't. They, of course, will be able to possibly get themselves right back up towards the top of the standings if they can win this game and against Abyss on day 3 of Super Week. But LeBlanc and Vladimir now banned away as well. And Jin taken from Radier. Of course, Ash will be a contentious pick this this best of 3.
But kicking it off with these bans as well, entirely targeted from the side of the Direwolves.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the LeBlanc from Swiffer, the Jin from Radier, and the Shen from Swiper. 3 big points of power that these teams have. Elise very much targeted, albeit a good champion. And the Vladimir is the only ban out of necessity. The big question is where from that point.
Well, Azir is going to be the follow-up ban here by the Chiefs, meaning that CBLOL can head towards the Rek'Sai if he wants to.
And Ryze is also available.
Yeah, very
We
true.
have actually seen contended for a couple of times in our last series in particular. We know Swiffer can play it. You would expect that Fantix can also. And really, is it the Rek'Sai that you look at? I know that Spooks maybe has a Hecarim anyway that he might want to play. Sybil's got his Zac if it comes to it. The pocket picks are there. I would almost say if it's not Ryze, it's Trundle.
Trundle is definitely a big deal. Coming out of the last series, if both of these teams actually watched it, Trundle, of course, 100% win rate in that best of 3, and both of these players do love the champion. Aurelia is another one there. Of course, Chippy's sort of launched himself into the OPL, sort of known only as this guy that plays a heck of a lot of Aurelia and very well, but Karma for Regret 9 is going to be picked up.
Okay, so they lock in the support, of course, something that was banned all of last series as well,
Very
so
true.
take it with a grain of salt. Karma's a fantastic champion. It feels much more Regret opposed to what a Soraka does for Ejim.
Yeah.
Where we may even see that, but the Karma is very much an enabler for your team. It'll usually force the other side to look at Sivir, otherwise you can go for a Sivir Karma composition and then speed everybody up. We've even seen Hecarim's picked with that. There's plenty of options for the Direwolves.
Well, Rek'Sai and the Trundle going to be locked away here by the Chiefs. Powerful first round of picks here on the red side already for our former OPL legends.
Yeah. I mean, that's just incredible, right?
Yeah.
Rek'Sai Trundle is a great first rotation, and the big question that we have to raise is about the prioritization of Karma over the rest of the picks that the Chiefs just locked in. Literally, those 2 champions were the standout features. They've now given over both. And so maybe CBLOL is going to default to something a little bit different.
Yeah, and the Direwolves may have a plan for this one as well. I mean, Karma does allow for a lot of different picks. Champions that don't have necessarily as much maneuverability.
Doubles up mid as well. We know that Chippies is a fantastic Jax and Aurelia player, so looking at the 1v1 matchup in top. He's a confidence player, Chippies.
I just feel like Trundle lanes so well against anyone that's melee.
Evelyn and Sivir being hovered.
That is perplexing. As that is CBLOL looking at the Gragas. Gragas now in response to the Rek'Sai. I do like it a lot. Stop him from tunneling around, getting into your backline.
Absolutely matches the early gank pressure as well. Has decent clear. He's always going to be good for disengaging. They lock in the rest of the unsurprising dynamic duo in that bottom lane as they now move extremely quickly. And all they really lack is perhaps an engage tool. But CBLOL can double up as that engage as well as disengage on the Gragas.
Radier hasn't had that Ashe looked at all so far. Can freely head towards it now if he would like to. Was successful in game number 1 on the Ashe pick into Legacy. He's then taken away from him, but now thinking about the Ezreal, of course, has been his favorite champion for a long time.
And for what it's worth, knowing that he's into a Sivir Karma means that it's not always ideal to have the Ashe available. You're going to be slower, potentially caught out of position far more.
Hey, Rusty.
Ezreal can shore up that.
Hey, Rusty, I've seen this comp before.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't just watch a series beforehand.
Yeah.
Nah.
It looks a little bit similar.
And what's good about that team composition is we know it works.
Yeah.
Chiefs have absolutely picked themselves 4 strong champions. As far as their draft is concerned, something we've already mentioned about this, believe it or not, in the series beforehand. Braum makes a stun out of every champion. Ezreal and Braum always going to be a safe duo. Trundle always going to be good at split pushing. And Rek'Sai, early pressure, early rotations, lots of vision heavy control that you can play around major objectives. Direwolves, however, if we look at what they've compiled as a 3-man roster, about to be 5, is very much them.
Oh, yeah, especially if this Twisted Fate's locked in. And Jack's there as well for Chippies. If there is a style that the Direwolves have, this has epitomized it.
Yeah, they're a 1-3-1 team. They've learned how to 1-4, which means have one person split push, but they like having 2 people sitting in side lanes and killing a Karma Sivir and Gragas as a 3-man unit. Very difficult. Very difficult. Thankfully, for the side of the Chiefs, they've got a Rek'Sai Braum to follow it up. Swiffer, the only one missing. Wouldn't be surprised to see something like even just the standard Victor to round it out. Maybe Ahri. Of course, Swiffer, when we look at drafting phase, he has creative license entirely. He just picks what he likes.
Well, he could play Talia again if he wants to. Of course, it actually did look quite good despite the result of the game. Swiffer hovering a champion that he used to play quite a lot. And of course, if you think back, ladies and gentlemen, Swiffer versus Fantix has been a matchup we've been talking about for an incredibly long time. As he is going to lock in the Victor, exactly like you were saying, Rusty. Pretty standard stuff there for the mid lane. Can clear that one out very quickly. And we'll see whether either of these mid laners head towards teleport pickup, especially Swiffer, to try and answer the Destiny.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like he wants that just yet. Of course, the Victor being locked in as their 5th member is the really good follow-up damage that the team needed, the complementary crowd control that it does also provide, and even the slows once that Rylai's is there is quite good at enabling the rest of your team. Direwolves, though, they move fast.
Yeah.
Twisted Fate, actually a big benefactor of any move speed. Of course, he likes it himself. The Lich Bane gives it. Sivir Ultimate now gives it. Karma now gives it. Gragas doesn't have to flash if he gets close enough that he can threaten the body slam just by being in range. And I've seen Gragas go Dead Man's Plate as an example for that also. I think Direwolves have sculpted themselves exactly what they want, but the Chiefs have answered with the meta.
Yeah, precisely. And I actually just really love what Direwolves have done. And you spoke about the 1-3-1. I mean, that is their style. But if you go through the picks, these are picks that suit these players so incredibly well, especially Chippy's there towards the top side of the map, who can go back to the Jacks very, very easily. But we want to hear from you. Hop onto Twitter. This is a huge matchup towards the top of the table here for the OPL. So if you think that Direwolves can take this one down, use that hashtag DWN. However, if you think that the Chiefs are going to be able to bounce back after their loss against Legacy, use that hashtag CHFWin. And let us know, because, look, honestly, I still feel like it's up in the air. I feel like the predictions as well, as far as that dunk tank is concerned, have a few differentiating options there at the same time.
People say that this, even on the analyst desk, could be a Chiefs victory, but remember that the Direwolves have been boot camping.
Yeah, exactly.
They've posted about this one publicly. Raze has also been spoken of quite highly by even the Chiefs. So coming into this game, perhaps that boot camp's been just enough to get them over the line on the Chiefs, who didn't look bad against Legacy in their defeat. They still looked like a fantastic team.
They most certainly did, especially in game number 1. My God. Probably one of the most decisive victories in the series, despite the fact that Legacy were able to take them down in the second 2. Dial's now looking for that lane swap vision. As you can see, Swiper towards the top side of the map, going to avoid that. Sybil does eventually get that ward down.
And now that we're on to Summoner's Rift, it's worth reiterating how Direwolves will win this game in comparison to that of the Chiefs. You have to note the Direwolves are very much 3 strong individual players in Raze, Fantix, and Chippies. Sybil and Regret work out that shot calling as well as decent play themselves individually, but it's the 3 pressure points that they'll have on the map that actually separates them from the Chiefs, who play slow, methodical League of Legends and pull you around and control the tempo.
Well, you can see Chiefs, 62% of you folks at home believe that they will be able to take this one.
That's still pretty close for Direwolves.
That's what I was thinking, actually. I'm just like, whoa, okay, Direwolves getting back up here, because, of course, Chiefs have been sort of the reigning Oceanic champions for quite some time. Direwolves still with 38%. We'll see whether that changes as this series goes on. Because, of course, Direwolves have exactly what they want in game number 1.
They definitely do. The style that both of these teams have chosen here at level 1 is that they want standard lanes. And Direwolves are walking through that middle lane to ensure that they do. This is a 4-man that could collapse onto Egypt if he's not careful.
Well, there's the body slam, actually, as the counter-strike's going to come in. Ejim's in trouble as the boomerang flies across. Ejim has to flash, but the flash immediately after from Regret has a lot of damage with that Mantra Q. First blood will go to Raze, and they were able to wait for that to happen. 400 gold in the back pocket of the AD carry already.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was just an outright fact that they didn't see Direwolves walking through that middle lane, something, of course, that in our God Mode spectator we can see.
That is true.
As we see everything, but that invade from Ejim is super aggressive. He's against a Gragas firstly, which I look at and just put a mark on it and say do not invade this champion at any period of time. Because if he has body slam, which a lot of Gragases now start with, and he will be able to kill me come that level 2 spike. Chippy's also playing that Jax, will start the jungle camp with his counter-strike. And so now you're up against 2 stun champions that are ridiculously powerful.
Well, Regret actually going to get stunned here towards the top side of the map. Ejim wants to get in on this with the Winter's Bite. Doesn't have flash, remember. Radius still taking a lot of poke, and Regret has to be careful.
He does, but he's also playing with 3 potions. And Raze is still full health. Rayday missing his health means that this actually benefits Direwolves in the long run if he can stay in this lane successfully.
Well, it is 15-7 in that farm as well, so Regret has been making nice space here for the Sivir.
Yeah, that's what it's about. This is something that a lot of people say. Spook's actually level 4. He's in.
Oh my goodness, Regret in a whole host of trouble. Radiant picks it up. Second kill of the game going to the Chiefs, and already this is a bloodthirsty one.
Really clever from Spooks, though. No flash available for Regret because of what happened at level 1. So they bite back for the Chiefs. His pathing has always been where Spooks excelled.
Yeah, it's also really nice heads-up play here to salvage what had happened on that bottom side of the map. Swiper waiting here in this.
He'll spot him doing the Gromp right now. They're pinging exactly where he is with no vision. So the Chiefs, they are very on the ball right now with their awareness.
Exactly what's going on. You can see Bax coming in now from the bottom lane of the Chiefs. Looking to possibly swap that one back, but no. He's going to be tier picked up from Radier.
This is really smart from the... Like, you can just watch the minimap and see what they're pinging. They know exactly where the Direwolves are at every time. He was pinging that he wanted to fight Spooks for those wolves because they just spawned. They now know that Sybil was at the Scuttle Crab once again blind.
Yeah.
They have actually pinged exactly where he is at every moment. That's incredible to watch.
And of course, Swiffer was talking about Sybil as well just recently, saying that he has an erratic style as a jungler. Why he doesn't like to go up against him. They seem to have his number this game, though.
And it's funny, because you can predict where he's going to be just by your ganking on the opposite side. That's what I like about it. If he's suddenly your top lane, he's going to invade. He's always going to look to take what he can from you. But knowing exactly where he is to that second and to that degree, that's really cool, even now.
Yep. He's going to get body slam, though, as there's the slow. Raze was coming over.
But he has vision. He knows that that's where he is.
Yeah.
And now Spooks can choose to go recall or go back to his own side of the jungle and just hang out. Not that he has anything to take. It's this awareness, though, that lets the Chiefs play to their tempo of game, where Direwolves want to utilize Sybil in very sporadic manners, where they can actually find ganks that are successful. And just like this, they know he's top side, they saw him at the Wolves, they assume he's going to go from Wolves to Gromp. Spooks doesn't have to gank bottom, but if he does, he can get in.
Well, there's the counter-strike as Swiper is going to get stunned. Minions helping out there, but Grasp of the Undying from Swiper as well. King's Tribute helping him as well, and Spooks waiting in the wings. There to help out his top laner now on the bottom side of the map. Destiny's available though. Fantix has to be respected.
Yeah, and that Twisted Fate pick actually is something that we do need to highlight. He's in a situation where Swiffer has cleansed to survive a laning phase and ganks that have come out of a Gragas and Twisted Fate. It means that he'll be fine as a 1v1 individually. But the later the game goes, if there's ever an opportunity for Direwolves to put themselves in a 1-3-1, this could be really bad for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's exactly what they want to be getting to. And as far as how this early game turns out as well, Rusty, I mean, who's heavily invested in getting a lead early?
And the Direwolves always want to get a lead early. They're a snowball team. The Chiefs have an Ezreal Braum. They'd be happy with scaling.
We'll see whether they can do that. At the moment, the gold is extraordinarily close, despite the first blood going to Raze. He has himself that BF sword, still has a CS advantage here as well. The Sivir looking to scale. And Sybil getting a lot of vision down in this jungle. that tracker's knife.
He's seeing him, but he's not level 6. So Sybil can't get a gank off against the Cleanse Victor unless he has the keg. Now immediately looking towards that area where he plays Vision though.
Yeah, no. Blue buff will definitely be spied out by the Direwolves. We'll see whether that's going to be the first Destiny target here. The Direwolves have so much defensive vision on the top side of the map and offensive vision on the bottom side of the map. In fact, their vision is just ridiculous.
Yeah, they've set themselves up nicely, but defensively. And that's really the downfall of what they've got for themselves right now. That vision will last a while. It'll be reasonably efficient. But it's also just going to be knowing where the Chiefs are. It's not actually going to stop them from doing anything. Which means the Chiefs can continue to play that style, force their own tempo on them. Even the Sightstone advantage that Spooks actually has right now will then start to turn this back around within 30-odd seconds in the Chiefs' favor.
You can see Fantix was able to grab his blue buff, but no plays to be made is interesting. Chippy's hockey sticking everything up. Level 7 so far for the top laners, and it's all even. That one's considered. Raise and Regret shoving this wave over and over again, as they like to do. Sybil, we're going to pressure this red buff. Spooks has to be very careful because he knows that Fantix can be there if needed, as Sybil body slams his way out. Knows that he bought some time in the jungle.
Brings a 3-man rotation, though, from the Chiefs. And this game is definitely being played out quite slowly across the board from both teams, honestly. A hint of proactivity is always there, but it's measured.
Whoa, that is massive damage out of Chippies here as Swiper holds onto his ultimate. Fantix is getting Chaos Stormed, blows the Ghost. Doesn't want to take the full duration. Swiffer asserting dominance in the mid lane.
Yeah, stamps his foot down and says that maybe it's a good opportunity to push my champion-based advantageous position that he provides himself with. It doesn't actually stop anything, though, because, you know, I'm going to say 9-minute Rod of Ages is pretty well timed for Fantix.
Oh, yeah.
And the Ghost being burnt of all summoners is the lowest cooldown of the two by about half of what a Flash is.
It can still get a lot of what he wants to do done at the same time.
Yeah, no ult burn, no Flash burn. Fantix is still in a position of power, but Swiffer has put himself 15 CS up.
Yeah, which is a big deal. Fantix will be able to head back here, but it's not nearly what Fantix wants.
Oh, you made a mistake.
Oh, Scara.
You have to aim for the snail. I'm not kidding.
No, I know, I've heard this. I still miss it. Not the snail, I just miss the ward all the time.
You gotta get the snail, you gotta boop him on the head.
Oh, do you know, that's the most embarrassing thing as well, is the fact that Dials saw the ward. They're like, oh, you guys.
Yeah.
Spooks and Egypt now waiting around. Want to try and find Raze here. He does have the spell shield. There's the tunnel in.
There's a lot of move speed.
Yeah.
That's why it's hard to gank for them. Of course, Sivers ultimate, decent cooldown. But Karma's still there.
Means they don't have on the hunt for this dragon, which is an Infernal Drake for the first one, as Fantix misses a cannon creep. Disaster strike in the mid lane. Swiffer clears this one up very effectively. Still ahead in farm. Twisted Fate with the loaded dice. Probably still even on that gold.
And you know what? Speaking of even, that's exactly what this game feels.
Oh, yeah.
A very evenly matched battle. Maybe not in the top lane, but that's to be expected. The mid lane is the exact same thing in the opposite direction where Swiffer is doing work. I think moving towards the first Drake as actual point where we might see the teams fight, it could be what determines the accelerated nature of this game. Do the Direwolves get themselves in a point where they can fight? Or do the Chiefs continue their own pace and actually push it through? Gragas is top lane.
Yeah, they're looking for a Counter-Strike, comes in, gets a nice stun onto Swiper, who has the Subjugate. He's going to be able to use it, but heads back towards the wrong side of the map, and Chippies is able to pick up the kill. Just knew that he wasn't going to be able to get anything done. Chiefs start off this dragon.
Kudos to Sybil for ensuring that Chippies gets the kill as well. But they give over a big objective for this unless you get a Miracle Steal from Raze, which is unrealistic.
Yeah, so it is going to be Spooks that locks that one down. Swiper, at least is able to give his life for a cause, which is this Infernal Drake.
Yes, it will be traded though, whilst his life has been given. No, it won't be. So they get themselves the free Infernal. Fantix has no pressure.
Spooks and Egypt now in body system moving up towards this top side. Swiper was checking out that Rift Herald pit, and it does seem like the Chiefs know exactly what Direwolves want to be doing at each stage of this game.
Of course, they just numbers advantage and straight bully them off it. Ejim working up with the rest of his teams enough to push them back. And that's exactly what it is. The Chiefs understanding Direwolves where they're going to be, not even really strategy, just where they are. Making decisions on the fly if they want to counter it or not. Once again, though, the present issue is going to continue to be Chippy's once he gets his Trinity Force. He's not too far away from it, unfortunately, for the Chiefs.
Yeah, very close, actually. Just a recipe for the Phage and an extra few hundred. And that hockey stick is going to have to be respected. You can see now the Direwolves actually moving up as a 4-man unit towards the top side. Swiper still has Flash, didn't blow it in that last exchange where he fell down. As Regret looking for this pink ward. Winter's Bite not going to find him. The Chiefs able to clear out the vision of their own.
But there's 4 people potentially in this top lane now for the Direwolves. Surprisingly not looking to push that as an advantageous thing whatsoever. I think mostly due to Fantix not being near. Because they could have threatened absolutely a dive. They're yet to use that Twisted Fate ultimate at all. So Swiffer's doing well here.
Yeah, but now they're looking for it. Nice flash from Swiffer after the ultimate out of Sybil, and that gets him to safety.
I think he cleansed and flashed, like as a reaction. He didn't actually need to cleanse anything there, but Swiffer's alive.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Did a bunch of buttons.
And he just pressed all of them at once.
Well, I mean, saving his life.
Yeah, well, look.
Definitely good.
He's alive. That is what is important here. He can take a sigh of relief as he is still out farming Fantix.
Yeah, which is a big deal. Mentioned that before. Lucidity Boots built up now by Fantix. Summon a spell cooldowns important for the Twisted Fate. Wants to be able to move as quickly as possible, as often as possible. We'll see now, without any summoner spells on Swiffer, whether the Direwolves can get anything done. See whether Sybil goes back there once he has that barrel off cooldown.
Whilst we're watching these top lanes hit each other, Fantix actually flashed away
from
Spooks, who was mid. And this is a lot of pressure still. We saw a CS advantage grow. That hasn't changed anytime soon. Chippies is playing coy with Swiper.
He's going to find the level 10 mark. Chippies will do extra damage with Counter-Strike if he's able to get the things to hit at the same time. Swiper taking a bit of damage. That is just one cycle. And he doesn't want to miss too many of these creeps. Yeah. Bleep Strike going to get him one.
And Chippies just hung out. I thought maybe he'd deny a minion.
Maybe he needed to take a bite of his burrito or something like that, you know?
Because that's what you do. You have a burrito.
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to work it out.
Ah, yes, burrito.
I don't know whether that's necessarily the choice. I just went for it, you know?
It could be a drink of water, honestly.
You gotta take a guess.
Mexican night at Direwolves' house.
Well, nice unbreakable there from Ejim, just to deny this cannon creep. Cast minions
really
will do some work.
I guess one of the cool things about the Ezreal Braum is they should have let the cannon get denied. It still will. Oh, no, denied. Like, one of the cool things about the Ezreal Braum is that the Q from Ezreal is one part of the Braum stun passive.
Yeah.
So it helps a lot with actually stunning people out. And as a 2v2, they're still starting to excel and come into their own right.
But, I mean, we're talking about, you know, the Chiefs having a lot of control over this game, knowing a lot of what Direwolves are trying to do. However, the gold is extraordinarily even. It's only that Dragon really separating these two teams. Chiefs being able to pick up that first Infernal, giving them some sort of notable lead. And what timing are we looking for both of these sides?
Well, we've just hit our big first item spikes as well, so we have to quickly note that fact. It's a Trinity Force for Jax against the Titanic Hydra for Swiper, which means his sustain's actually a lot less.
Yeah, true.
And that could actually be a problem for Swiper. And not because the trades are going evenly, and Swiper usually will get his health back from his passive, but because the trades are going unevenly, and Chippy's just got a big spike in power himself. I think past this point, this means the Direwolves have got a split push option. The Chiefs, in terms of when they look to fight, maybe, is just, it's consistently trying to catch Fantix out of position and utilize that to get more.
Oh, there's a nice double knock-up from Spooks. Swiffer throws down the Q, but Sybil's going to find him. They know that he's got no summoner spells as the barrel finds him as well. Fantix picks up the kill on the mid laner from the Chiefs. That was a counter gank gone incredibly right here for the Direwolves.
Yeah, they were in the right place at the right time. I'm not even sure that they knew Regret was next to Fantix. And this is coinciding super well with the team wanting to be middle lane. Look at their vision. Look at how they've set themselves up for this.
Yeah. know exactly what's going on as Radiant. He's going to come over, saves this turret. That is a lot of damage. I mean, we talk about chip damage on turrets. That's over half.
And moving past this point, I think Fantix as well, once he gets that Lich Bane, is going to be one of the other split pushing threats, and that's when that 1-3-1 can be enabled and cause disarray in the Chiefs roster. Before that point though, what Spooks is doing is right, but his timing was all sorts of wrong. They capitalize on him, and this does come back to that vision. They keep swapping lanes also, to put Chippies in a spot where he gets Swiper. It feels like the Chiefs are actually hiding that.
Swiper is able to deal with this creep wave very well. Turret finishes off the last one there, as now Swiper moving away, knows that Sybil's around. Just cleared out a ward, he's in that Raptor sense. Swiper at least not going to die here, but Chippies, any time on this turret will be a problem, as Chiefs lock down Dragon number 2. Now looking to try and get some pressure onto Raze.
Yeah, one weird point that they're consistently doing is they will have Sybil topside, they will get the turret for it, so they get the monetary trade for the Drake. It's actually still beneficial for the Direwolves in that respect. I would actually value the money over a Mountain Drake this early in the game as well. But they're putting the Gragas up there when it feels like the Jax is organically winning this as it is.
Yeah. Now the Rift Herald being looked at. Yeah, Swiffer's over here as well. Swiper already in. The Chaos Storm goes down. So much damage as Sybil's going to die to Swiper. Chippies leap strikes his way over the top, and the Rift Herald is going to reset, meaning that the Chiefs aren't going to be able to lock that one up. They get themselves an easy kill on the jungler.
And that's the greedy part that happens time and again. The Chiefs are picking up on this. They're actually very strong reactive movements. They'll get themselves a free turret for it.
Fantix locks down a gold card, actually. Puts it onto Swiper. That outer turret, like I said, falls down. Also pretty quickly as well. Chiefs now with the Mountain Drake and the Infernal.
And ultimately, the decision for Direwolf should have been to put Sybil mid, Chippy's bottom. Reset the lane assignment. They don't need the Infernal that, the Rift Herald that desperately. When they know for a fact the Chiefs are actually contesting that every time. Play to the tendency of the Chiefs roster. But right now, it is still the Chiefs playing a little bit of catch up in the way of money, but still in control of what feels like, for the most part, Summoner's Rift.
Radiant. Nice heads-up play, throws down the Scrying Orb, discovers Chippies, who will now deal with this creep wave. You can see Ejin moving down. Chippies will back away. Wildcard picks up another blue buff here for Fantix. And see you later, Rift Herald. No more of these plays. 1,000 gold.
Now going for Chippies as a 2v1 is doable but risky. I don't think they want 2 people here though from the Chiefs. I think they'll actually bring down more people. Now the play is entirely feasible. Chippies just wasting the Q.
Yeah, just launched in there. Does flash over the Braum ultimate, but saves himself.
Yeah, dodges the Q with that. Of course, the cooldown on his leap's not too high. But it wasn't up that quickly, as that would have been unreasonable. 3-man affair when you have a Rek'Sai is actually a decent strategy. So he can be elsewhere if it doesn't work, as you saw.
Yeah.
Direwolves are consistently trying to be aggressive, trying to make trades, work around the Gragas, work around the Karma. It's being thwarted. This will still be the positive outcome.
Yeah, this outer turret
got
is
ganked.
not long for the world.
And then Radair recalled.
Well, Chiefs now hanging around the mid lane. You can see Spooks and Swiffer getting some work done, but
Sybil's just dead.
Oh yeah, okay.
So he invaded the red buff. Spooks ulted in. I guess it just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Cool. Okay. Perplexed as to, I believe that kill went to Swiper. Not to be mistaken.
Chippies, goodbye.
Oh my god, the explosion. And that is going to be Swiffer picking it up. Nice Chaos Storm. Going to be able to get that work done, and Chiefs now immediately answer this turret and will be able to grab themselves even gold once again, as we are going to see Sybil falling down. Lots of poke damage out of Swiper. Swiffer.
That was one of the bigger mistakes that I've seen from Sybil individually. He body slammed into the wall.
Yeah.
Didn't even have flash up. And now they catch Chippies. Not in a position he wants to be.
Still have the gold lead though.
So they
said and done.
have the gold lead, but it doesn't feel like there is more gold in any individual member of the Direwolves. It's actually like, I don't see where that gold is, besides the Twisted Fate passive.
Yeah, true. That's really largely what it is now the outer turret is going to fall. Dire will stay ahead on that metric. and do open up the map further. Fantix, of course, hasn't used the Destiny once yet this game. See when the first time is going to be and whether he's going to be successful.
Yeah, the Twisted Fate passive is the entirety of it.
Yeah.
Basically.
They buy about $1,000 himself. It's not too bad.
One of the cool things about Twisted Fate, just in general.
Oh, Swiffer in trouble one more time. Fantastic bop combo as Swiffer's in trouble. Sybil picks up the kill. Deathray takes Regret down to about half health. Spooks gets himself all the way in, has to flash. Gold card comes out though. There's the barrel for the slow, which is going to be there. And Ejim gets himself down. See, decent pillar there out of Swiper at the same time. The minion wave going to be dealt with on both sides, and Direwolves limp away.
Yeah, and they're doing this with Chippies in a side lane and the teleport up. So Direwolves, they make a big play. Spooks, I don't actually think he wanted to click that tunnel. There's 2 tunnels in the Raptor pit, and I think he just clicked the other one instead of being near the wall. Sybil, though, that was a sick combo from the Gragas.
Oh, yeah.
The way that he actually found Swiffer there was mid-body slamming through the ultimate, so there was no reactive play available for what is a Victor with no flash.
He did, to his credit, manage to cleanse, but not quite enough after you've been delivered into the enemy team. See, Chippies now takes himself the CS lead at about 12. He's going for a Blade of the Ruined King as item number 2. This man is in full split mode.
Yeah.
He'll now have the sustain to match that of Swiper with his passive.
He'll probably have much more sustain, honestly, than that of Swiper, even with just a single life steal item. I don't think split pushing is the avenue that the Chiefs want to take, where we know for a fact that's what the Direwolves want.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I'm looking at a Death Cap potentially as that next item for Fantix to say, and that's a big breaking point for the Direwolves even in team fighting.
Wow.
Once he can actually go to a side lane and use his Destiny maybe to join them.
You can see Pinkward going to be traveled over here by the Chiefs. Radier picks up this wave, but Chippies is going to survive thanks to the vision given to him. Dial's now all towards the bottom side of the map. There is vision from the Chiefs. We'll give Swiper some time on this outer turret on the top side. Mountain Drake looking to be taken here, so Direwolves answering back on the Dragon front. They're going to even up that mountain count.
Yeah, it feels like the Chiefs were watching them do it, maybe considering a fight, but knowing they can't do it. Swiffer did not have the inside track towards that Drake and is zoned off, but the Chiefs, they're resolved now, knowing that Chippies was grouped, is to have Swiper push, and this is the game of trades. It's a very high-level game of League of Legends that we are watching.
Also the fact that the Chiefs just pinged out that blue buff as well. They put up a lot of vision very early to make sure that they knew what was going on. They understand that Fantix will be moving around here. They have to answer Swiper as well, so Chiefs positioning right now, definitely intelligent, but
this is a game of who can be one step ahead of the other team. And at the moment, it feels like the team that's 1.5 steps ahead is actually ahead.
Well, there's the Destiny for the first time. Swiffer might be caught out of position as Sybil finds himself a barrel. Pillar goes down. The Gragas does need to be a little bit careful.
He's got Raider, actually.
Yeah, and the ultimate comes through. Radier in trouble as Fantix had, like you said, found him. Flashes forward, gets the red card, and that is going to be the Ezreal falling. Sybil now gets pillared. They can't find too much more out of this one as Chiefs want to take down their red buff on their way out.
Yeah, he's watching them, Sybil, so ensuring that they don't get out, stopping Swiper from teleporting as well so that Chippies can work his magic on Spooks and or the turret in that area. They get themselves a great pick on the back of Fantix doing a lot of damage and being able to take out Raider quite handily, honestly. And now they move towards a greedy Baron. They've actually got a Jax to teleport in. Should have went to base first maybe for the Blade, but they'll still do this super quick.
Most certainly will. Fantix getting in on top. Nice AoE shield there as well.
Actually got
that is just super fast. 26-minute Baron, and Direwolves pick that one up. Like you mentioned earlier on, this is a team that has been boot camping. They are well and truly going toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, who were looking on form, especially in the early game, and how they predicted this one.
Yeah, we talk about one step ahead. Well, that's definitely a cerebral move from Direwolves, knowing that they just walked them from the Baron pit all the way towards their own base, warding them on the way, and then just straight up start that. Good players don't bait.
Damn right. Fantix as well has now picked up that Rabbidan's Death Cap. He is huge on this Twisted Fate, and we know how incredibly powerful he is on this champion. Despite the fact that he's 2-0-1.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a fantastic Twisted Fate. To draw the parallel, though, you have to remember that Swiffer's Victor, no slouch. He can still blow that guy up who does not have his own Hourglass or an Abyssal Scepter. That's a greedy, not cooldown reduction intensive build. Fantix has compiled that next item. Spike will help when he has the zoners. Until then, to be seen.
Yeah, only has the book part of it now as Chippies takes down the inner turret, on the bottom side of the map. Baron buff is so going to help this 1-3-1 favored team.
CBLOL does not have flash, so the engage from the Direwolves actually comes down to potentially Fantix, who doesn't want to be a part of the team right now. Yet, they're still somehow pushing the Chiefs back.
Yeah, Baron Minions doing some work here as Spooks is looking for a flanking play, but then heads back towards the top side of the map. These minions have to be dealt with. As you can see, the Cannon minion doing work. Raze has sort of secretly got himself very far into this game. 2 items and a half as he's building towards Lord Dominic's regard.
If Fantix finds Radar here, he's dead. Like, the amount of damage that the Twisted Fate does is unreasonable. This 1-3-1 is in effect.
Oh, yeah. And Chippy is now just waiting with this cannon creep, keeping him big. Now Raze, pushed off by the turret. Spell Shield not going to find too much, but the Direwolves continue to make this work.
Whoa, that is a big flank on Chippies, and that is a risk.
Oh, Spooks is looking for it. Nice leap strike there, and Chippies and Spooks just
pass
pass by each other.
But look at top lane. Like, by going down there and using your ultimate, you've basically sacrificed the turret. Direwolves, they are in such a position of power.
Yeah. And it's like they just switched on their comp as well. This is almost it's an 8,000 gold lead here for the Direwolves, almost out of nowhere. This game was so even until that Baron fell.
Everything falls at once. Utilizing that Baron buff as effectively as you possibly can. As far as power plays go, this is perfect Direwolves.
This is huge.
Fantix can still kill Radar, and that is ultimately the biggest problem they have right now.
Chippy's looking to try and take down this turret as well. The Pillar doing some work. Chippy's, unfortunately, is going to be able to tank that turret. Has to use the flash. Sybil was coming over. But didn't want to put his fate in his jungler's hands for that moment. Swiffer quite low underneath this turret as there's the ultimate.
Whoa.
Sybil gets the belly bop. His Gragas has looked so good. But Swiffer is going to survive. My god, that was almost genius.
Yeah, that was really close to killing Swiffer. He does live. Jax has to recall, and the Chiefs get some respite. Their base is not entirely broken because the inhibitors stand.
Yeah.
And this is the best case scenario to what was potentially going to be really bad for the Chiefs in this first game.
And things only just got worse as well as Fantix goes back to base, grabs himself a Void Staff. Lord Dominic's regard is almost completed here for Raze, who has himself the last Whisper. Infinity Edge will be coming up next, I believe, for the Sivir. To Radia's credit, he's got his 3 items, looking very, very strong on the Ezreal. 260 CS here as well, so is still ahead. He's been helping out, clearing out these minion waves.
And this is one of the 2 directions that this series will tend to go, right? The Chiefs are much more calm and collected with their pushing of the speed of the game.
Yep.
The tempo movements are more calculated. The Direwolves like to make a few brash decisions. They, on a whim, go for something like that Baron. But when it pays off, that's where you see them start to snowball games out. And at this point, it feels like that risk versus reward is definitely in favor of the Direwolves.
Oh yeah. They've been making these big plays. Well, we'll see whether they can make any more. Baron buff is, of course, worn off. There's a Cloud Drake live, but neither team really looking too intently at that area. It will be taken as a consolation prize here by the Direwolves by the looks. Ray's going to start that one off, and it will fall down relatively quickly.
I lock that one down just because it's there to be locked down.
Yeah. Now let's get to the next one, which will be in Elder Drake, of course.
It's just that time in the game.
Yeah. Of course, both of these teams looking at that Elder Drake pretty hungrily, especially the Chiefs, wanting to maximize this Infernal and the Mountain.
Yeah, I would say at this point in the game, though, Baron's actually still a higher priority.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, running a 1-3-1 for the Direwolves actually gives them availability to both. But they have to choose. You don't have a Sightstone jungler. He is a Tracker's Knife, but it's not enough vision. What they do have is the one big Sightstone champion. So they pick Baron or Drake. Which one is much more higher priority in their list? Or an individual tier list? I'd say Baron.
Oh, well, Fantix is towards the bottom side. Remember, he only has Destiny, doesn't have the teleport, so has to move a little bit further in order to get there. Oh my god, that damage is huge, but Radiant answering back. The flash has to be used out of Fantix. He's ghosting away as well. Deathray going to slow him down as there's the Chaos Storm. Heal comes out of Raze as now he's in trouble. Flashes out of the Chaos Storm, which is still doing so much work. And now Direwolves, 3 versus 4 here around this area. They keep everyone alive, and Chippies is beasting on Swiper right now. Subjugate comes out, and there's the Leap Strike. Actually, that was an interesting interaction. As Chippy's now turning onto this turret, leaps his way out and understands that the Chiefs are coming.
Yeah, so he gets out right on cue. Direwolves, that was a situation that was really risky for them because the Chiefs bite back hard and actually give it to them. Raze with no health. Fantix pushed out of the jungle. Really good calling, honestly, from the Chiefs roster. They save their base once again, but it's now hitting that crunch time. They've got the epic monsters now there. The Baron and the Drake. The Drake's not going to be there for a little while. I mean, the Baron, 20 seconds.
Yeah, it will be 4 minutes until that dragon is up, but exactly right. 16 seconds to go, and there's vision to be cleared here by the Chiefs by the truckload.
Yeah, and it means if they make a mistake, the Chiefs, they either concede the Baron or the inhibitor, just like that.
We were talking about their decision-making earlier on. This is the big test.
338 CS at 33 minutes as well for Fantix.
Yeah.
With a Twisted Fate passive, means that he has way too much money.
And he was also behind earlier on in this game as well, you have to remember.
Also, for what it's worth, when you hit 33 minutes in the game and you have this much money, I'd actually recommend you sell a Doran's Ring in place of a Pink Ward.
Yeah, probably.
Just to re-establish that the value of a Pink Ward is actually far superior to a Doran's Ring at 33 minutes. Looking at you too, Mr. Swiffer.
Swiffer still looking for what looks like a Void Staff. As a regret, wants to be able to clear out that ward, but instead takes about 2 auto attacks from Baron, halving his health bar. Now Sybil dodges out of the way of some of these skill shots and body slams his way out, but isn't able to defend his pink.
He's tanky though.
Behind the Baron.
Mr. Sybil's a big old Gragas.
Yeah.
The Chiefs now, though, they're looking to be more proactive with these decisions. Every time Chippies is out in Fog of War, Swiper's respecting. Even by going back to base now, he might have an item, but it also could be a teleport. And these top laners are actually just playing around vision with one another, looking to pick their battles very particularly.
And deciding when they're visible on the map as well. You can see both of these teams playing the map very effectively, and if there's anything that Direwolves have improved on this split of the OPL, it's definitely been their decision-making and map movement. It has improved. Nice move to fight from Ejim, but Sybil able to body slam his way out. This just looks like such a practice comp by the Direwolves. Seems like they know exactly what they have to do in order to try and win this game. Despite the fact that the Chiefs do have relatively good answers a lot of those times.
Yeah,
it's playing into their hands.
It's a really practice comp from the Direwolves. I will agree with that, absolutely. It's a scary thing to me, though, that the Direwolves with a lead this large can't actually break the Chiefs' base. And it's starting to give me this really eerie vibe where I feel like the Chiefs, from this gold deficit, can still win this one.
Oh, yeah.
With the next big team fight. They're holding the vision. They're establishing themselves well enough. And Swiper's not dying. There's definitely an avenue here where they need to 5v5 or 4v4, not 1v1, and win a team fight behind Swiffer and Radiant.
Well, Swiffer's going to head back. Probably has that Void Staff done now as item number 4. See, Fantix has gone back, grabbed himself a Negatron Cloak. Could be Abyssal. Could also be that Guardian Angel for his last item if he wants to. See what he decides to get. Abyssal would make some sense. Get himself to 30% CDR. Yeah,
it should be Abyssal.
Just grabbed himself that blue buff as well, so currently sitting on probably about 40%. See, Chippies. So what he goes for, it looks like a Scarab's Gauge is his next one. Sybil steals away the Raptor Camp. Oh, yes. Successful stuff here from the Direwolves jungler, and Chippy's once again standing in the brush.
That's Chippy's brush now. There are many that look like it, but this one is his.
Oh, yeah.
He's definitely still scaling on that Jax. Direwolves playing this very slow at the moment. It's a patient game of League of Legends. Pulling the trigger is one of the hardest things that they have to do at the moment because the Chiefs can respond near immediately. But sooner or later, they have to pull the trigger because this is what the Chiefs want to do. Just sit back, farm, get your items, play safe in lanes, and get them to farm. And if you're in a losing situation and the opposite team can't actually advance on you, you're in a pretty good situation.
Oh, yeah. Swiper's happily eating up these mini waves, getting tankier and tankier on this Trundle.
I guess this is the big point, though, Atlas, because the Elder Dragon's now up and available as of now, as is the Baron. Now they've got an option, the Direwolves. They can force topside vision or they can force bottom side vision and then do the other. Or just control an area and force one. They actually now have double the options that they had.
See what they decide to do. Chippies once again towards the bottom side of the map. Still, minion wave control certainly in favor of the Direwolves. They've sort of had control of the map over the last little while, but you can see the Chiefs managed to get Elder Drake vision.
Okay, so here's the thing. They've just picked up 2 Guardian Angels on the side of Direwolves, Fantix and Sybil alike.
Oh my goodness.
It means that they can engage with their Twisted Fate if they want to.
And Infinity Edge done by Raze as well. These are big item spikes.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is perfectly timed with both objectives being up. I would imagine the tempo of this game now increases for the Direwolves, looking to pull the trigger. Doesn't mean that the Chiefs are going to bow down to them, however. They still want to push it themselves and match what is now being presented to them. Chippies is always going to be an issue. If he sits in a side lane, in fact, I would even wager that they could 2-man or just stop. You know what? We'll find out if he can do this. I think he can. He's level 18. He's destroying that. He's winning this.
He just pops his ultimate there as well. He's not taking damage from this Elder Drake. Has the counter-strike there as well for when he needs it. Swiffer has no idea. You can see Swiper moving down will be across vision here as Sybil body slams his way out. There's the ultimate out of Raze, so Direwolves disengage quite nicely.
None of them died. They're actually about to get themselves the Elder Dragon completely unbeknownst to the Chiefs because Chippy's on this Jax is strong enough to solo it.
And look at how well set up they are as well. There is vision everywhere. Chippies was never in danger whilst doing that. Can just disengage. What a play out of the Direwolves. That was the ace up their sleeve.
Yeah, and he's the teleporting member of the team. So now they've got a real big point of power where they can utilize the Jax in a team fight, force his damage to these epic monsters to be present and try and 5v5 their opposition. They could even put Fantix in the middle lane whilst they have 4 people at that Baron. This is where they work their strength.
We'll see whether they just go straight towards this Baron. Looks like all 5 members are there. They've started it up. They have a lot of damage to take down this monster, and Spooks is going to need a pretty good smite button to be able to lock this one in. True Shot Barrage flies through. It's actually Fantix that picks it up as Spooks is in trouble. Chippies is going to lock him down. That's Jungler dead. Elder Drake, Baron buff, and Dial's looking super strong heading towards the Chiefs' base.
Yeah, they can actually just put Chippy's top lane, put 4 people mid. This is the desperation play from the Chiefs, potentially. They're actually just caught out now.
Yeah, there's the Destiny Ejim in trouble. He gets gold carded. He will fall down. The gravity field comes in, but Sybil's just going to ignore it. Radier off to the side, has to use his Arcane Shift, gets himself to relative safety. Regret launches himself up, but my God, Swiffer just gets one shot by the Twisted Fate. Fantix heading forward. Radier in trouble. Wildcards aren't there. Stack Deck, I don't believe, is going to take it down, but Fantix is eventually able to get it with an auto attack, and Swiper can't get the work done. That's an ace. The inhibitor falls in the mid lane. Direwolves looking powerful with this 1-3-1 comp, and will be able to take down the Chiefs in game number 1.
It ticks over that 40-minute mark, and the Direwolves did not look like slowing down. On the back of a Jax with a cheeky Elder Dragon decision, the entire game was decided.
Yeah. And that's after the cheeky Baron decision that they made before that as well. That's what led to that 8,000 gold lead around the mid-game. And Direwolves, it seemed like they'd sort of slowed everything down, but it was still controlled. It was still like every wave was being pushed in. They were waiting for their moment, and then they made the play that won the game.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs played super reserved and just farmed it up, tried to get to that late game and team fight, but they just couldn't get there.
Yeah, but what a beautiful game of League of Legends anyway. We're going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down the Direwolves win.
I don't get to say it very often, Atlas, so I'm going to right now. A shellacking for the Direwolves against the Chiefs. I mean, they absolutely destroyed them from go to woe. Chiefs couldn't get any part of the map that they looked like they liked.
And it actually all started also with that level 1. And I think that was probably like the microcosm or like the right foot for Direwolves to start on. Yeah, it was ultimately compensated for because of a good pathing and initial gank by Spooks to even up the 2v2 on the top side. But the fact that Direwolves were so clever with just a very cute little collapsing level 1 play due to some misplaced vision, I think set Direwolves up and set the tempo of this game.
It really does feel like they dissected their play, right? Throughout the early game, like you mentioned, the level 1, and throughout the rest of the game too. Like they played really well around their core Karma, Sivir. Like they tried to put him top lane, right? It didn't work out, but you can see they tried and tried again, like through mid lane, like they just pretty much knew exactly what they could do and they executed it.
Yeah, if you want to actually look at the play that Raz is talking about, it's about 12 minutes of the game. And what the Direwolves do is, you know, they have their ultimates. Actually, it's earlier. It's about 8. They have their ultimates, and they blind recall and then just send them top lane. Regret gets spotted by a ward in the tri-brush, but generally with Karma Sivir, you can run down someone like a Trundle with this E speed up, with the Sivir speed up, get yourself even further ahead. So, you know, execution, maybe not there for that exact play, but the idea is 100% there. Play I do want to talk about, however, is how well executed that Baron play was. Because, like, if anything won this game and really broke it open after the Chiefs fought back, it was the fact that they were able to grab a Baron.
So the biggest thing about the Baron play was the fact that they got to pull spooks across the map. So initially you have it set up where you're trading towers for Dragon, Swipers pushing through. But it allows Chippies to go bottom, and he starts creating a pressure point bottom lane. And the Chiefs then kind of get chased around, so Spooks is unable to teleport. So the response has to, Swiper is unable to teleport. So the response has to be Spooks to cross map with the Rek'Sai. And as soon as the audio cue goes for the Void Scream on Rek'Sai, the Direwolves instantaneously know that they have the jungler across map, and they have a 25-second window where they can rush that Baron. Chippies backs up into Fog of War, immediately pulls the trigger on the teleport. But like the planning for that play, that's like 2 minutes in advance you're making that play and then executing on so many different aspects perfectly.
But they had that window, and this is something that's amazing with like how Direwolves playing it, because not even the Chiefs do this, right? Where you have a small window to take Baron. Now, most teams will be like, well, this is too much of a risk. Well, they actually...
Hesitation.
Yeah, so much hesitation in this league. And I thought they saw that opportunity, and they took it immediately.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And it's not even just like it's still reactionary, but again, like the forethought and the planning and understanding how you're manipulating your pressure point and having the courage to pull that trigger instantly.
But let's talk about why it's so important, because, you know, before then, they were trading objectives. It was a 4-1. It wasn't a 1-3-1, because Swiffle was just able to push in. Like the Trundle at that stage, the creeps aren't that strong, able to neutralize the Jack. So even though they're trading farm, they're not getting leads. They grab that Baron, they knock down 4 turrets with it. All of a sudden, that's 1,000 for that, the 500 gold pick on Radiant, and 4,000 gold worth of turrets just absolutely opens up the game for Direwolves to execute really well late.
And it wasn't just a one-sided stomp. You're right? Because before that point, the Chiefs were actually doing incredibly well in keeping down Twisted Fate. I think Max really pointed it out perfectly that, like, Twisted Fate wasn't able to use his ulti until like much later on in the game. So like they locked him down, and they just needed to basically do something off it.
But the most impressive thing is that the Direwolves are able to pick up the cerebral victory over the Chiefs. We are going to head to a 3.5-minute break, guys, but don't go anywhere, because after this break, we're going to see game number 2 between the Direwolves and the Chiefs.